Today we're going to be giving you some not so typical Disney Cruise Line tips. Hey, it's KJ.
And John.
Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new to the channel, I share a lot of Disney cruise tips, Disney World trips, and we do have 3 kids together, so we throw in some tips on what it's like taking your kids on a Disney vacation. So if you like any of those things, we'd love to have you hit that red subscribe button down below. And if you like today's video,
give it a thumbs up.
And without further ado, let's get into the not so typical Disney Cruise Line tips. Tip number 1. If available, book Disney transportation to and from your cruise port. And this is not always available. Last year, we went out of Fort Lauderdale, which you cannot get Disney transportation for. And actually, we had a fun time, rented the car, and kind of went a little sideways.
Yeah, we drove to the port. The address in the GPS was wrong. It was a whole thing.
But we'll save that for another video because we have some tips on things not to do, which again will be in another video. So first tip, book Disney transportation when available. And the reason I say this is because you will get a better boarding time. So on our very first Disney cruise, we went on the Wish and totally forgot to check in, which is how you get your boarding group. So we were first timers, and it was like several days after we could have checked in, and I called John and I was like, oh my gosh, we never checked in. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna be like boarding group like 40. Well, we were not boarding group 40, we were boarding group number 4. So we had a really early check-in time. We were on pretty early.
Yeah, very early.
So what are the perks of that? Well, you get to see the ship before everybody else.
Yeah, we got to go to the buffet before it got really crowded.
Yeah.
It feels like you get a whole nother day of vacation when you get on the boat, because otherwise you're just sitting in the terminal desperately waiting for your number to be called.
Yeah, so that worked out really well. And then when we went out of Fort Lauderdale, we were still I think we were boarding group 9 or 10, something like that. Because my sister, who was first-time cruiser, we went with my sister, brother-in-law, and their 2 girls, and they let us board at the same time. My sister got to jump in our boarding group. So I think we were probably around 10.
That sounds about right. When you board early, 3-night cruise feels like you're there 3 days.
So definitely, if Disney transportation is available, book it, because you will get that early boarding time, especially if you are a first-time cruiser or if you are a lower Castaway Club member. And alternatively, if you are, say, gold and above, you may not want to use Disney transportation because likely you're going to have an early boarding group anyway. So if you know you're going to have an early boarding group, then maybe you want to just skip the Disney transportation, just because you have to have your bags out of your room really early. So if you do use Disney transportation, they ask you to pack your bags and leave them outside of your room. I think it was 7 a.m. It was pretty early.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And then later you meet in the lobby at maybe 9 or 10 or something like that. But probably 9. But you have to have your bags out really early. So if you don't want to deal with that, then you can get a Lyft or Uber or what have you. But take the Disney transportation if it's available and you want to get an early boarding group. Tip number 2, make sure you have your check-in documents ready to go. So I know I was just saying that if you book Disney transportation, you'll get that early boarding group. But let's just say you're not going out of Port Canaveral. We went out of Port Everglades. That's the other Disney terminal. What you want to do for your check-in, make sure you have all of your documents ready. Take pictures of your passports, and then you have to take passport-like pictures of yourself. So we have some blank walls. So let me just tell you, the 2 of us trying to get pictures of our 3 kids.
Yeah.
Looking at the camera,
without being fidgety, and because even the upload process, it was not taking the pictures always. It has to be it really has to be the way they want it.
Yeah, so I would advise taking multiple pictures of your children's and maybe give yourself enough time. Don't just do it the day of, because if you're Eastern Standard Time like us, then you have to book right at midnight. So not book, you have to check in right at midnight. So make sure you have those pictures ahead of time. Make sure it's not live. It will not, meaning the live format on your phone, they will not take those photos. It won't upload properly. So you need your passports or birth certificates. So if it's a closed loop cruise, then you only need your kids' birth certificates. Double check with your travel agent and call Disney Cruise Line just in case anything changes. But as of right now, you just need the birth certificates. So just have all of your documents ready. If you go on Disney's website, it will list all the documents you need. But basically, it's your passports or birth certificates and then the passport-like photos, right? That's everything.
Right.
Tip number 3, call ahead before you even book your cruise and find out what side of the ship you want to be on. I'm pretty sure you have to be on the starboard side for Castaway Cay and I believe Lookout Cay as well. And the reason I say that is if you want the beautiful views, you want to be on the side where the ship is docked facing Castaway Cay.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll just be looking at, the port and the dock, but to actually have the picturesque view of Castaway Key, you have to be on the correct side of the ship.
Definitely ask your travel agent before you even book your room if you want those picturesque views. I believe you want to be on the starboard side, but just double check with your travel agent or call Disney Cruise Line before you book your room. Tip number 4, and this may surprise some of you. If you've been on other cruises that are not Disney, Disney does not have an alcohol package. So if you were planning to buy the alcohol package, they do not have it. However, they do have a rule in place where if you are an adult over 21 years of age, and there is an exception to this, I'll get to that in a minute, but if you are an adult over 21 years of age, you can bring 2 bottles of wine or
1 6-pack of beer.
Right. Here's the other thing. You can also, at any port that you go to, when you get off the port, you can buy it there. And usually there'll be like like some kind of like convenience store or gas station, or if you wanted to buy another 6-pack, you can bring it on. So that is one way to sort of get around having to buy alcohol on board.
And the only exception to the 21 and over rule is if you're doing a closed Australian trip, a closed loop Australian trip, it then is 18 and over.
Tip number 5. So if you've been on other cruise lines and not Disney Cruise Line, you may also not know this, but there are no casinos on Disney Cruise Line.
But there is plenty of bingo.
There is bingo.
So there's ways to win money.
There was actually someone, I think he won $9,000, not on our cruise, but I read about it that he won $9,000, which essentially paid for his entire cruise sometime last year. However, your bingo, if you like the bingo that they play the jackpot, it has to be called within the first 46 numbers. So that was something we found out when we played bingo. It was like, oh, not that we won the jackpot anyway, but it was like, oh, like they make it super hard on purpose. But I mean, it's like, that's the thrill, right? Like thrill bingo. Tip number 6, if you have a child who does not have a phone, but they can read and write, you can bring an old phone for them and load the Disney Cruise Line app on there for them. And then you can actually communicate with them on the ship. So if you have the Disney Cruise Line app, you can basically text. You also can use iMessage. But if you, let's say you don't have an iPhone and you're bringing an old Android, then you can download the Disney Cruise Line app. But we basically use iMessage, right, for the most part?
Yeah, that's how we communicated.
But if you're someone, again, if you have a child who doesn't have a phone yet, maybe they're like 9 or 10 and they're headed to the kids club and you just want a way to communicate with them, you can bring an old phone and download the Disney Cruise Line app before you leave. And then you can actually like text with them back and forth. So just for peace of mind, like if that's something you'd like to do, just wanted to throw that out there because maybe, you just want to be able to communicate with them. Tip number 7 is to join a Facebook group. Now, this one you've probably heard before. Johnny doesn't really use Facebook, but I do. So just to give you a little background on that, when you join the Facebook group, you find it for your specific cruise, and there you can set up things like your fish extenders, or if you can do some kind of meetups or like pin trading, which we don't really get the pin trading.
No, but people like it, so.
Yeah, so listen, if you like pin trading, let me know in the comments down below. What is the thrill? Like I don't know.
It's a collectible. People like collecting certain things.
Like, is that it? It's just a collectible thing?
Sure, there's things you collect, things I collect. People like collecting pins. I like collecting Disney t-shirts or Disney quarter zips. I don't know.
Is that really collecting? That's just like your clothes, though.
Get it? But
we kind of collect Disney
there's
Christmas
nothing
ornaments.
that's right. We have a lot of Christmas ornaments.
But is that like collection?
You display them. I mean,
I don't know. Let us know, guys. What is it with the pins? We want to know. We want to know what it is. What's the thrill? No shade, no shame. Just genuine curiosity. Anyway, okay, back to the Facebook groups. So you can have like pin trade meetups. You can ask questions. Like before our very first cruise, I was asking so many questions because you just don't know until you go. So that's really great. But there are 2 other resources that you can use if you were unaware. One of them is DisneyCruiseBlog.com. And what that is it's not affiliated with Disney. And on there, people post things like menus or navigator. Well, like they used to have paper navigator, so people used to post those things, but now people will just take like screenshots or screen recordings and send it to that website and they'll post it. So if you guys want to get an idea of your itinerary and like different things you can do, like what are some of the things we've done?
We've met characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, obviously the other, princess and classic Fab 6 characters. So there's a lot that you can find within the Navigator app. Also, we saw the movie Wish on the Dream because they do list, the movie times and the movies that they're airing within the app. And even though we're on a cruise ship, I don't know, I like going into the movie theater. I find it cool. You can buy snacks at the concession. You can check out a third of a movie, a whole movie, whatever you want to do. Just go sit down and get out of the sun for a little bit.
Yeah. So definitely if you want to know some of those things, like actually, to Johnny's point, you can find out what movies are playing because sometimes, now we've never really experienced this on the cruises we've been on, but from what I've heard, let's say there's a movie out in theaters like Snow White right now could potentially be on a Disney ship because it's been out for a little bit and it's never happened to us where like a movie that was in theaters like currently was also on the Disney cruise, but we have heard people say that. So that's definitely a good point. And then even just like, it might be like classic movies. Like what was one that you watched? You took Winnie in with you. She didn't like it. What was it?
Oh, it wasn't classic. It was,
no, I'm not talking about just any movie.
It was Ant-Man Quantum Mania.
Oh, yeah.
And I brought her in there and it was a scene where Ant-Man and Kang were fighting and she freaked out we walked back out. It was towards the end of the movie.
Well, that's the beauty. You can just walk right out.
Well, she screamed. So I was like, oh, everyone turned towards me.
Is that good parenting?
No, because it's a PG-13 movie and I bought probably a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, whatever she was at the time in there.
But you didn't know what scene it was going to be. He just wanted to see what it was like.
I just wanted to say like, hey, let's check out the movie theater. It was our first, that was the wish. It was the first time ever on a Disney cruise. So.
Yeah, just to be clear, he just wanted to like pop in for like a minute just to check it out. It just so happened it was a scene that she didn't like. Anyway, so if you check that website out, Disney Cruise Blog, they'll have things like movies that might be out or just any, fun things you might want to know about on your itinerary. And then there's also a website called Cruise Mapper. So if you are deciding what port adventures or excursions you want to do, this website will let you know how many cruise ships are going to be in that port, what time those cruise ships are going to be there. So let's say you're going to Nassau and you want to do some kind of excursion, but you're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be like 10 other cruise ships. Maybe we skip it. Or like, maybe like the Disney Magic and the Disney Dream are both going to be in the port. Like which one's going to be there first? Like which one will have first access to something? So just something to keep in mind if you do port excursions. We don't really do them because our kids are little. So we haven't done any, right?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Not on Castaway Cay, and we haven't even really got off the boat.
No, we don't get off the boat.
Yeah.
We only like to get off the ship if it's a Disney island because it's a Disney vacation for us. We don't really care. We're not beach people.
Nope.
Even though we live near the beach. We're not beach people, but anyway, I digress. Tip number 8, you do not need to line up early for the See You Real Soon party. The first cruise we went on, you actually went to it. I was pregnant and was just too sick to go, but you went to it the first time. And I remember you were like, there's all these characters. I had like no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, I watched from, I think, a deck above and just kind of peered over the grand atrium. There was a lot of characters, and they were doing meet and greets, and it was a quick show, and then the characters kind of break off into individual meet and greets, and we sort of got in the action. The second cruise we took, the Dream.
So you got
a good bang for your buck too. Not that it costs anything, bang for your buck.
You meet a lot of characters at once.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So I didn't know this, and when we went on the Dream, we like lined up. I don't know, maybe like half hour before or something because I'm like, oh, I want to get a good spot. Also, like if you're a content creator, you want to get good video of things. So that's also a little bit of my motivation. And we actually were on the next level up. I forget what deck it was, but we were on like the deck above. And then I decided to go to the main deck. And good thing we did because the characters only meet in the main atrium. They don't meet on like the decks above, which sometimes they do like throughout the cruise. They do not do that at the See Real Soon party, like the farewell party. So that is where the characters meet, and they come out, like they get introduced, they sing a little song, and then they just like disperse for like about 15-20 minutes. And if you do it right, you can meet several characters. Like I think we did Bluto. So Johnny, my brother-in-law, and then Woody and my niece, they went and met Cinderella. And then I stayed with the boys and just kind of got a little spot because then they do sing at the end. So you do not need to line up early. Like I actually would say be on that main floor so you can meet the characters and actually kind of like be like on the outskirts because the characters are kind of like on the outskirts of that lobby. Like there's Disney princesses, there's the Fab Six. I think Chip and Dale might even be there. So just kind of be on the outside and then you can try to like knock out characters. The other thing is they do not have autograph books for that. Like they try to make it like really, really fast, which is actually good because then like a lot of people can see characters. And if you are in a like a group of people, so for us, like we were with my sister, my brother-in-law, we were all in the same picture, which we did a lot of the time anyway. But if you didn't want to, then like don't let them know that because they just kind of want like one big group at a time, like to just go. So again, they can just like get there as many people as possible. My next tip, you do not need to wait in line for the buffet if there is a line outside the pool deck. We made that mistake. We
did because it's not really always so clear that you don't need to wait in line, and on vacation, you don't necessarily want to be cutting in front of people and be that person. So, but the buffet sort of repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just go into the restaurant, cabanas on, I think, all the ships or most of the ships.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly marketed on like the
that's true.
Wish, the Treasure.
But if you go into
Destiny.
the buffet, if it's outside the pool, you can find the other set of the same food and
there's
hardly
no line.
anyone on it, So
Yeah.
that's one of those things that I don't know why they don't have someone there telling you like, hey, there's two sections. You don't have to wait on this long line.
Well, there's more than, it's like on both sides.
Yeah.
So people wait online like outside, like on like both entrances, but there's like more food. So if you're someone that came in like on the Dream, if you went on like that particular elevator bank, you would have come out there and then you would know. But we had to like walk across like the pool deck. So we're like, oh, it's a line for food. And you just think, you ask people like, are you in line for food? They say yes. So you're like, okay, I'm going to get in line for food. You don't need to do
But then
that.
as soon as you grab your food, you realize that, oh, there's more food there. That it's not like just an endless line.
Yeah. And along the same lines of the buffet, what I would advise, especially if you are in a large group, or even if you're not in a large group, even like when we went on the cruise with just it was the 4 of us at the time, but just there's 2 adults and children, I would advise get your table first before getting the food. That way, like you leave one person there and then everyone can kind of disperse. And then you can meet back at the table rather than getting your food and then being like, oh, where are we going to go? This way everyone knows the same meeting point. So that's another tip for you.
Especially if you want a table inside, because those seem to go first.
Yeah. And there's actually, we didn't sit here. My sister sat here. There's in the I believe it's the back of the ship, the aft. There is a place where you can sit outside, and not like on the pool deck, but like I think it's the aft. Where you can sit outside, and those tables I feel like are not really well known, at least in our experience. Like my sister said, there was nobody there. So if you want to sit outside, you also have that option. Like maybe on a day that you're in port, you might want to sit there because the boat's not moving. I don't like to look out when the boat's moving. It makes me a little not so well.
Also might be warmer though because there's no breeze. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
True. Our next tip has to do with the elevators. So if you're like us and you have strollers, sometimes multiple strollers. Although our last cruise, my little guy, my youngest he was like 7 months old, like we just barely made cruising age. So I wore him on the carrier, and then our daughter was 4 and she was able to walk, but my middle guy, he was 2 and we pushed him in the stroller. So if you have strollers, and then if you're going to take the elevator at a popular time, what would happen to us, Johnny? We would press the button to go up and the elevator would be full. So do you remember what we learned?
Yeah, if everyone's going up to like the deck to see the fireworks, then you should take the next elevator going down.
Yep.
Get in.
Yep.
And then
ride it back up.
Because everyone's going to the same location. It could be everyone's going to the deck for like a show or fireworks, and you'll never
getting off at like the port.
Right. You'll never get on a elevator if you have to take the elevators.
Yeah.
If you don't have to take the elevators during those,
then
definitely take the stairs. But if you're someone that has strollers and or wheelchair, then
if you need an elevator,
then I would advise taking it the opposite direction just so you get on and then ride it back up.
We learned that about halfway through, and that was on the Dream. On the Wish, we didn't really seem to have that problem. Maybe it's just because it's bigger, but on the Dream, definitely we had to. Maybe by like day 2 or 3, we were like, oh, let's just get on the elevator and then. This way, because there'll be so many times where the elevator will be full and they're not that big. So yeah, that's just another tip for you there. Okay. Then our final tip for this video is that if you want to tip your servers, your room host, what have you, so what happens is you will get a slip. And if you do, we do prepaid gratuities. So we did our prepaid gratuities, and then let's say you want to tip them extra, which we found we always do. Like you just form a relationship with your room host, with your servers, and you just, they're just so amazing and wonderful. We found that every cruise we've been on, we want to tip them extra. So the first time we cruised, we brought cash because that's what everyone said to do. But we found out something because we would rather not carry cash around. So
it was twofold. It wasn't, yes, the cash part was important, but also we wanted to necessarily tip them more than we thought we wanted to when we came onto the boat.
Cash. Yeah.
And we didn't bring enough cash to do that. So we just happened to go to the concierge. But
you were going to ask for cash, right?
I was going to ask for cash.
Yeah.
But they said that you could just put the tip on your credit card and it will just be applied to their tip. So I was like, oh, even better. So that's what we did. We ended up putting extra tip on a credit card. That way we didn't have to have cash, that we didn't have to determine beforehand, what denomination we wanted to give this person based on service. We could just, at the end of the trip, be like, oh, this person was even better than we thought. We're going to throw them even more money. So, that was a good thing because we don't really we're sort of cashless. So we prefer not to have to carry cash if we don't have to. So that was a good find doing that.
Yeah, for sure. So those are our not so typical Disney Cruise Line tips. If you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, leave us a ship emoji. And if you guys like today's video, please
give it a thumbs up.
Subscribe if you're new and you like the content. And with that, we will see you real soon. Bye.
See you on the boat.
We can be nice and snug. We can be snugly together. You got a short torso. Got more legs. Hey, it's KJ.
You just said you were going to say, hey, it's KJ and John.
That's not what I wanted to say.